I'm ready.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's say hi to everyone. Thanks for coming to LVU's speaker series. This is Delrico Johnson. If you have any questions during this, just write them in the chat and we'll get to them. But first, let's Rico, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you played for, what's your deal, and all that.
Okay. I guess I'll start from the beginning. I started at Towson University back in 2009, I think, is when I really got into it. Towson Pandemonium. And then from there, I picked it up. I wouldn't say easily, but it was more comfortable because I played soccer growing up. So there was a lot of that kind of movement where you're moving, in Ultimate's case, you're moving the disc from left to right, up, back, down the field. So I played for Towson Pandemonium in college. And after that, I think maybe a year, maybe even 6 months later, I tried out for MedMen, which is a Baltimore-based team. I played there for a couple seasons, 3 or 4 years, I believe. And I played for American Hyperbole, which was a mixed team out of Baltimore, who then rebranded to Fleet last year. Played for, after that, I was, lucky enough to make the DC Current, which was MLU team at the time. Believe that was 2013. So DC Current, which led me to know a lot of the truck players where I played most recently, Washington DC Truck Stop. Played a couple mixed teams through Summer League, which is probably my favorite Ultimate to play. But yeah, for club-wise, it's Truck Stop was my go-to team, my most recent team.
All right. Real quickly, I was gonna put together a little video of your highlights, but then I saw that Elevate one and thought that was better than anything. So for people that haven't seen you play very often or haven't seen that link, I think I'm gonna play it real quick, just to get an opportunity to see you play. So I'll do that real quick, share my screen, and then we can have some more questions. Hold on.
All right.
Your character, feel you to destroy you, that's the way of this America. Smoking on this bomb sack, I'm plotting my combat. They say success is war, so I'm preparing for my combat. All I tried to do was rise high above my enemies. Shit on them from high above and pray that they remember me. I'm the shit, bitch, yeah. Can you best remember me? I might be gone forever if my haters prayers. If they succeed, just let the world know that Michael kept it G. And if you see my haters, please tell them this here for me.
All right. So that's a pretty nice highlight reel. I think I'll start out the questions. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, play the next video. So in that video, there were a lot of times where you went through extreme effort to avoid contact with players. So I'm just curious about your, do you think about that and what you do as far as positioning wise to avoid contact, especially when you're coming from behind and laying out in front of someone, or flying into a pack of people.
I would say I'm trying to like think on one of the plays. So I think a lot of it, when I'm playing defense, I like to force my person out, like to the deep space, because I know I have the catch-up speed just to be able to make up the distance that I'm giving them. And from there, it's I always try to take the inside position, just so if I don't have to sky someone, if I don't have to lay out, that's the quickest path to the disc. So in my mind, it's okay, I force them out, let them go deep, let me get inside position if I can, because that's safer than me maybe going through them, or I know I can out jump someone, but I don't want to rely on out jumping someone to get the D. As far as safety comes, it's whatever position I put myself in to not hurt them and get the disc cleanly. There are a couple in there where there was contact, but I believe I took the best line. My thing is always to take the straightest line to where the disc is going to fall. And when it comes to like when you're thinking about someone's safety or going for a D, that has to be the first thought, is how you can get the disc safely and cleanly without injuring someone. I think there's one clip, it was against Boston Ironside, where I laid out, cut off the disc, and the guy kind of came into me. That's one of the scarier things that I'm worried about when I lay out, is I hope that the person doesn't come back towards the disc. Like, I know you should, like as a receiver, you should come back to the disc, but on like when I'm already committed to laying out, that's the scariest thing for me, is someone coming back, because I don't want to take out someone's knees. Like I've done it before. It's not a good feeling. So like once you do it one time, and once it happens to you, it happened to me in college. Someone like laid out on a hammer of all things, took out my knees, tore my MCL, and I was done for the rest of the season. So safety is like the biggest thing for me. My advice is to take the shortest path. If you are going to lay out, look around, like know where the offender is, like no spatial awareness. If you can cleanly bid for it, do it. If not, then it's better to not bid and get the mark on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? Any questions on that with anyone in the group?
I had a quick question. We've seen a lot of times, especially in either AU, DL, highlight videos or in other men's videos that there's often a level of physicality that is um, increased, I guess you would say, as opposed to a lot of mixed games that we see that are being filmed. Has that, I don't know if you've played a lot of mixed, or is that an adjustment to get used to the physicality of other players when you're so conscious of avoiding the contact? And we see a lot of times, especially sometimes younger guys coming from college who are joining these AUDL teams that don't have that same mindset.
There is a difference. So my summer league here in Maryland, it's mixed. I try to go to a lot of the mixed tournaments. I'll go to Fools Fest. I'll go to Patamash a couple of times. So I am frequent in playing the mixed scene. It's how comfortable the person you're defending is. What I do. So I play basketball, and in basketball, when you're checking up on someone, like you put your forearm on their body, like you have some sort of contact. So that is how I defend. Um, I have some sort of contact on them, but I don't hinder their movement. What I see in some college kids that transition is they treat it like an open game, and they're not spatially aware. I think field IQ and being aware of your surroundings has a lot to do with it. With the physicality, you just have to communicate with your defender. Um, I've had my hand slapped away uh, because the person didn't feel comfortable with it. And if they don't feel comfortable with that, then that's okay. I think you have to ask. Like, it's kind of weird to ask, like, hey, are you okay with me playing physical on you? Some people like it, some people don't. If they don't, then you have to respect that and play a different. You have to shift your mindset on defense. When someone doesn't like that and they call a foul on it, then you have to separate yourself. Maybe give them like 3 yards on an in cut. Like if you're gonna play under them, play under like 3 yards so that they run into your body so you're not initiating contact. If they are comfortable with the contact, then don't push off or anything, but just be aware that if it is going to be more physical, then you have to expect that back. Um, and I think there's not enough communication on what's accepted and what's not. Like I've been on teams where someone will say, hey, they were really physical, call that foul. And I'm like, I don't think they were physical. Like that's how I play. It's not a foul. So it comes down to communicating and asking someone how they feel. Like I hope that makes sense. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I've just been a part of different tournaments or different games, and obviously there's a huge variability in the physicality that people are comfortable with, like you were saying. And so it's often an issue because you have the spirit of the game that people take to varying degrees, where rules is written, I guess. You're not supposed to have any sort of contact, but if they're comfortable with that, I think you brought up a good point that the communication is a huge part of it. Even though you're on different sides of the disc, the communication is going to be important for you to make sure you can keep the spirit but still have the physicality if that's something that's you're comfortable with.
And it kind of goes with, you know, you can't call a foul for someone else. Like, I don't think someone else should be able to tell you how physical. Well, it's kind of weird there. Like, if your captain feels that you're being overly aggressive, overly physical, then yes, take that to mind. But also, you have to. I don't want to get in trouble here. Like, I don't want to say if they're not going to call a foul, then keep doing what you're doing. But I think at some point we know how physical we're being. So if you can adjust your game, like I think that helps. Like if you can play physical and be a good defender, but also if you can adjust your game where you don't have to play physical, but still get blocks, still shut down your person, then that's also a good trait to learn.
Yeah, good point. Thanks.
We have a question in the chat. We have a brand new captain. A lot of the team leaders have graduated in the fall, and we now have relatively inexperienced roster. What are some of the most important things to teach new players to transition the team into a cooperative and efficient force on the field? What are the fundamentals of Frisbee for new players?
It's a good question. With the simplest answer to that is to just go out and throw and catch. It sounds simple, but it does do wonders. I know in college we had a field, Burdick Field, and everyone on the team would meet like sometime in between classes. Like, hey, I have my class ends at 1. I don't have the next one until 2. Do you want to meet at Burdick and throw? It's throwing and catching whenever you can, because what that translates to is you being more comfortable with a throw on the field. I know when you're not, like, you have to take those throws and catch like it's a game. Like, just focus on every throw, focus on every catch, so that when you do get to practice, it comes second nature. You're like, okay, I practice this throw with my friend. Like, I know I can hit that. So once you build that block of being consistent with your throws and your catches, that just makes practice easier, because you don't have to do, like I've done the come to drill where we said, okay, let's hit 10 end cuts. And we'd get up to like 4 or 5, and then we would have a drop. And people would get frustrated. And it's like, okay, if we practice those throwing and catching, 10 end cuts doesn't sound that hard. Like, I mean, we still struggle with it even at the club level. Like, there's going to be drops, there's going to be bad throwaways. But when you start with an inexperienced roster, get them comfortable with throwing and catching first. Then when you try to build on that, it doesn't seem as hard. Like when you're telling them to open the break side, like throw to the open person under, like they don't have to worry about, can I hit that throw? Like they can like, okay, I need to hit them here. And it's a lot easier. So first start with throwing and catching. Do that as much as you can when you can. And if it's an inexperienced roster, just let them know that you've been in that position before. Like that, don't give up. Like keep throwing, keep catching, stick with the program, stick with Ultimate, because it does become easier. I know I didn't get it. I couldn't throw a flick for the longest time. It would turn into a roller, and I wanted to just stop because it was hard. But I was convinced by Foley, White Hat. He's like, just keep throwing, like keep practicing, and just encourage people that it gets easier, it gets more fun, it gets better. And then, because you'll grow together as a new team, you'll grow together, you'll see the leaps and bounds. Your first practice together is going to be totally different than your last practice together in the fall. Your last fall practice is going to look different than your first spring practice if you continue to throw and catch and work on fundamentals.
Any questions? Another one. Have you ever gotten seriously injured? How did you heal from it and continue your training throughout the process?
I guess when I tore my MCL in my knee, it was tough. It was in semifinals. Actually, I've gotten hurt twice in semifinals, which is probably the hardest mental thing because you're so close. And if it doesn't go well, you're like, I kept my team away from the finals. My mental game is something that everyone needs to work on. Because when you get injured, you know you can't contribute to the team on the field, but you have to be up in spirit to contribute that way. When I hurt my knee, I kind of just listened to the doctors. The doctor said I had to stay off. It wasn't significant, like a long period of heal, but it was like 6 weeks, I believe. And I just had to listen to the doctor. And for training, I let the swelling go down, and then honestly, I just sat on my couch, and I try to lift my leg up to it was like 180 degrees, and just like slowly kept going up and down. Um, but for injuries, the hardest thing is not forcing yourself back. Um, I think I healed pretty well from it. Um, so that was my knee, and I had to just take my time getting back, make sure I was fine, because I couldn't make lateral cuts, which is pretty much all Ultimate was. I tore my hamstring, and that's from not stretching. Uh, I tore it in summer league, and I played on it, and we won, but it was like the championship game. I don't advise playing while you're injured because it just makes it worse down the road. But that was a tough one because that took 2 months. And then when you're out 2 months, you feel like you have to catch up to everything. So you go to the gym, you add a little extra weight because you know you can do it. And then I like semi pulled it again. So that was 2 more weeks. Um, just take your time with injuries. Um, it doesn't make sense to rush back because if you rush back, you're going to be out longer than you would be if you just took the whole rest time. Um, my wife, she's a PT, so if I get injured now, I'm like, what can I do? Fix me. But back in college, I didn't have any of that, and it was just trust the doctors. That's it. They know what's good for you. Don't rush back. Work on being a better teammate off the field, so that when you get on the field, you can produce as much as you did by cheering on your teammates. So that's what I would say for injuries.
I'm curious, what sort of non-injured training do you do, and does it take to play at a like truck stop, play that high level ultimate, especially for young people? I feel like it's good to hear what it takes to be that good.
Um, so my first year, 2013, I think I only made it because I played um, the current that year, which I was the last pick. I was the last pick on the current, and Kevin Moldenhauer at the time, it was between me and someone else, and I was the last person accepted on the team. So no matter where you are, um, you have to do your best, like train whatever to feel your best because I never I never thought I would be at the elite level. Um, and I just trained and everything, did what I could, and I still almost didn't make it. So just keep pressing. Um, for training wise, elite club, everyone can throw. Um, everyone can jump. Everyone can like make spectacular catches and D's. It comes down to conditioning. which is like, if you can outrun someone, if you can shut someone down just by being on them defensively and not letting them catch the disc and frustrate them that way, it goes a long way. A lot of the top clubs, if you're a conditioned team, you will go far, because at nationals, the rotation goes from, maybe in pool play, everyone's playing, maybe 20 of the 25 players are playing. When you get this quarters, that drops down to like 18. So like the tighter the games and the more they are, like more pressure there is, the lower the pool of players is. So you have to be conditioned. If you can outrun anyone on the field, and you can throw and you can catch, you're gonna make it on an elite team. And with training, that's just do your sprints, do your 40-yard sprints, your down and backs, work on those, work on foot speed, get a ladder. If you don't have a ladder, like use cones, set those out, foot speed, change your directions, being able to like chop your feet and move. So like have a cone like 10 feet apart, sprint towards it, chop your feet, turn around, like work on those type of things. That will increase the level of play. Like that's what elite ultimate is. It's able to cut quick, clear quick, throw quick, run quick. It's all about speed and fitness at the elite levels, especially when like you see people who may not be the best throwers, but they have the best throwers on their team. And if you're outrunning your person every single time, or you have fast feet to cover an in cut, to cover an out cut, to move on the mark, then you will see yourself at elite level. And that's all I focused on, was just my footwork, getting in the gym, which isn't necessary, I wouldn't say. Alan Kolek, he played truck stop, played space heaters. He's probably the lankiest and skinniest kid I've seen, but he's one of the top players. But he's also quick. He's got fast feet, fast hands, pretty good stamina. So just work on your fitness, and that's how you make it at the elite level.
Nice. Are there? I was curious whether there's any certain players that you played against or teams that you played against that you really enjoy playing, that you find really challenging. Anyone specific?
So I would say I actually like playing Mad Men. They're the team I started on when they were around. I think they disbanded, but they were like a mid. They were always second or third at regionals. It was either Truck, Patrol, or Med Men. It's a team I played on, and they always brought the energy. They always played up to the competition. And it's a bunch of guys that I know. Like I grew up with my frisbee throughout my frisbee career. So Mad Men would be one local team. Pony, who's kind of like the super team and Men's Open, just because you're playing against good talent. I always like playing them. I don't like them just because they're kind of a rival. But it's good players. Whenever you can play against good players, it elevates your play and it makes you better. So Medmen, Pony, anyone in my summer league, like when I make the team at the draft, any of those teams just because it's a bunch of local players all having fun. But yeah, that would be my. I guess my top would be Pony, then MedMen, and then Summer League teams. I really like Summer League.
When you go in to play a team, well, I guess are there any teams that you go to play that do you change the way you play, or does Truck Stop or change their defensive strategy based off you depending on the team? Like when you play Pony compared to some other teams, is there a different strategy on defense, personally and team wise? I don't know if we can give away secrets or anything.
Yeah, so coaching is probably a big thing. Um, if if you're able to have a coach, I think it's good. They see the field differently. They can strategize. I'll go with Pony when I usually guard um Alex Thorne, I believe it was. He's kind of like a hybrid player. Um, just because if I am able to shut him down on the unders, I can always send him out where I have the better matchup. Yeah, but coaches they switch up the strategy against every team. We actually have a spreadsheet where it's like this player likes to do this, so we're going to force them to do the opposite. This player is a handler, so we'll push them out into the deep space and make them cut. This person's a deep threat, so we're going to sit behind them and make them come in and make them throw. So there's a lot of strategy that goes on with it. When I get a matchup, I just I'm told what they like to do, and I focus on how I can position myself to stick within the scheme that we want. Um, so if a team's really good at throwing backhand hucks, obviously we're going to force them flick, um, or you go flat on the mark, which makes them throw wider, which makes the disc hang in the air longer, and it has to be a really good throw if you're going against a flat mark. So there's a lot of different things that go in with strategizing how to defend someone. Even when if I guess my biggest quality is the ability to catch up on a deep huck. Um, there will be times where I do go against the call on the field, and I will send someone under just to bait a deep throw because I know they have to throw it either really far or really high, and that's where I excel. Um, but personally, I think if you find yourself struggling, so let's say you can't cover, like you're getting beat under every single time. Like I think you need to adjust your footwork and watch other teammates who are good at defending under, see how they position themselves. Um, when you break it down, ultimate can be really simple. It's if you're struggling with something, you watch someone else do it. Like imitation is really big in ultimate. Um, so if you're struggling with something, watch a teammate, ask for help, study film. That's a big thing that every team I've been on, we spend probably 2 to 3 hours watching film. Even if you're not doing it as a team, just watch film in general. A tip I was told was pick a different player, um, watch one point, pick a different player and see what they do every single point, and see how they get open. If they're on defense, see what they did to shut someone down. So a lot of what I've learned has come from watching other people and asking questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Does your I have a quick question. Does your team have scheduled like film sessions, or I'm sure that's something individuals do on their own, but is there something that you get together as a team and watch either big games or important matchups before important games?
So I actually, on the breeze, I would watch film of the team, and it would be the whole game, and I would have timestamps in an Excel spreadsheet, and so it would be the timestamp, the score, what happened, and uh, how to defend against it. Or like in my notes, I would say this is what I think we can do. And if I notice a pattern, it would have like the same note on it. But yeah, so like for breeze games, I would do it every week. Um, it would be their latest game. So say we were playing Toronto. Um, we know that they like to throw around or break you. So we would game plan against that. I would say, hey, this is what happened. This is how I think we should defend it. I would send it to like our captain, like the captain, send it to the coach. Actually, I would send it to everyone and they would watch it. But I think watching film is big. Um, Even if you don't have film on the team, but you know what they like to do, I think you can find film out there. There's a ton of film on Ultiworld, a ton of film on YouTube, where you can, if a team really likes to huck, you can find that team, um, a similar team. But yeah, watching film is big, at least for at the pro level. In the club teams, we would watch it before like a tournament. I'm reading Brandon's question right now. Any secret pro level offensive universe point plays to destroy unsuspecting college level defense? Um, yeah. Um, so in college, Foley, I think this was after you left. Kevin Moldenhauer came. He was our coach for offense. Jose was our coach for defense. And so our college team was running club plays. And the easiest play to run on Universe Point, I'm trying to think what I would play. All right, if I was on defense for Universe Point, I probably would have someone watching the deep space, someone bracketing under. So to beat that, you can line up in a side stack if you want. Everyone, it's a flood pretty much. Everyone but the back of the stack goes to the middle of the field, and the back of the stack comes under. That way, you're already on the break side, and you probably pulled the deep help. If you didn't, then it's a wide open under on the break side, and then everyone else is in a vert stack, just cutting break side. If you wanted to score in like 2 or 3 throws, it's a play. Let me see. I don't have the film saved. If you wanted to score super quick on Universe, it's a play called Magician. It's a side stack again. Pull comes down. The person who catches it centers it. They wait for the defender to come mark them or get close to them. Then they go up line. It's like a 40-yard up line cut that the handler who you center to just throws a 40-yard up line, and then the person from the back of the stack just cuts deep or just cuts to the cone. It works 95% of the time.
If you want, Rico, you can put it on the whiteboard on the screen share.
Is there a whiteboard?
I don't know.
How to do this? Do I have to share my screen?
Yes. Share
Huh.
screen, it should be whiteboard, possibly. If not, we can keep going.
Share screen, whiteboard. Yeah, here we go. All right. So five, 6. Put something right there. All right. That's the throw. I think I did this wrong. Oh no. I don't know where my pencil went fully.
I don't know.
This is gonna be so good.
You at the top.
Dang it.
Ah.
Oh, there we go. All right. So say this guy caught the disc. He throws it over here, or they throw it over here. And then this person moves up to even. So they go there. And then the cuts will be in this color. They throw it back. So once this handler is even with them, they throw it back over here. And then they just cut up line. And then this throw goes here. And it always works. Like it doesn't look like it works, but it always works for some reason. And then you can have this cutter come in and go out. These two are just working off each other. So if they go underneath and then go out, you're just going like that. And it works every single time. Even when they know it's coming, somehow it works. Because let's see, undo. If they pull a defender over here to stop all that, then this handler, all they need to do is go up and then come back, and then it's the same throw upfield, and it's the same two cuts over here. It's called a magician. So you catch the pull, you center it. The person who caught the disc is going level with the person you centered to, the other handler. And then you're just making like a 35, 40-yard upcut, which you're being thrown to right here. And then the back two in the stack are working off each other. One person's going deep and one person's coming under. And that's pretty much it. And that's one if you are playing in a horizontal stack. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Your 3 handlers here. You can, it's called depending on which way you clear. So this would be called, we called it HR because you're clearing from the right. This person clears across. This person goes out and under. This person goes deep. And then you can, depending how your horizontal stack works, this person just like rotates towards the middle and then fills. But this play also works because you're playing with a third of the field or like half of the field. And even if they bracket you, it doesn't work because if this defender that's here doesn't go with this person cutting across, it's a free throw towards the break side. And pretty much you want to run this play towards the four side that's given you. And this might be like a little bit too much, but if it's force flick, then this handler can either clear out also or just come around. And if the defender stays there, then you just work the break side. But that's pretty much universe point. I know that was long, but this play right here works 90% of the time, and the other play, magician, works 90% of the time.
In that clip that I showed, that crossfield hammer, was that a play, or you just do that?
It was a stall 8 timeout because I had no one. That's why you throw it into the end zone. And no, if you don't throw it into the end zone, follow your throw. That's like rule number 1. Whenever you throw a huck, follow the throw. Even if you're on offense, follow the throw because you never know what's going to happen. That play, no one followed me, and then like stall count got high, and the dump throw was taken away. So it came in. I called stall. It was called stall 8. Called timeout, and I just threw it to space. Very high, and only where either we were catching it or no one was.
Perfect. Any questions? Brandon asks, what are the top 3 traits of a good handler?
Let's see. Top 3. That's tough. Being able to move the mark, and that's either with fakes or with shimmies. Because if you can move the mark, it makes your break side throws easier. It also opens up your four side throws. So moving the mark. Being able to read the field, so like field IQ, seeing who's poached, where the defender's playing. Because in Elite Ultimate, if you're open by 1 or 2 yards, that's an open throw. I know in like college or other teams, if there's like a 5-yard cushion, they're open. But at Elite Ultimate, if they're open by 1 yard, you have to be able to hit that throw. So I would say being able to move the mark, decision making, and throw placement. You don't have to be the fastest player to be a handler. You don't have to play good defense. But yeah, those are the 3. Height. No, I'm 5'10", believe it or not. You can always, if you're playing against a taller defender, I think you can always work in the gym to be able to jump high enough. But also, not everyone in Elite Ultimate's like the 6 foot plus giant. You do have players on a smaller side, so you can just use your speed to lock down on a handler or lock down someone at the top of their vert stack or the front of the vert stack if they are. I wouldn't say height's a limiting factor. A lot of teams do like to go big, but there's other ways to defend tall teams. I actually have I want to share something. This is from 2011. I hope the link still works. It goes back to earlier what we were talking about, how to improve like with rookie players or like a new team. It's called Kung Fu Throwing. And that's the link to it. It still works. At least I was able to click on it. But that's like a breakdown. I think it takes like, I think you do like 300 throws or something. It might take like 90 minutes, but if you just do that maybe like twice a week, you'll see your throws improve. I know I would do like 25. Whenever you're throwing, one of the tips I got was whenever you're throwing, try to do like an outside in throw, like outside in backhand. Maybe do like 5 of those. Do like a 5 flat backhands and then 5 inside out backhands when you're throwing with a partner. And then you switch and do 5 outside in forehands, 5 flat forehands, 5 inside out. So whenever you're throwing, try to hit those 6 different throws. And that's what helped me out. So hopefully that link helps you for everyone. Be able to click on it, do it. It helps definitely. But that's what I try to keep in my mind when I'm throwing is make sure I hit all those 6 different points of release.
We're getting towards the end of the hour. I just wanted to ask, or at least have you talk about a little bit of the Delrico Johnson Fund. I figure we should probably put that in here. It's a great thing. I'll put the link in the chat. Just tell everyone a little bit about it and maybe why you're doing it and such.
So when I came to college, I didn't have a lot of money or like really family support. And then I found Ultimate and it's like, hey, this is a really fun sport. It's cheap, which is true for the most part until you get into like higher levels. You're going to tournaments, you have to pay for hotels. And it was at a time where I didn't really know about the Worlds team. And if I did, I would have tried out. But at the same time, I didn't have the money for it. And that's something that always bothered me was not being able to reach a different level because of funds. And now I'm in a position where I have extra funds. I can help people, and I think it's something that the community is able to rally around. It's just give it's another way to give back to the community, and especially like with people of color, um, those funds might not be as readily available as other people. Um, so it was important for me to have a like central location where people could give back. And I always thought that paying dues to USAU, it was just like, okay, here's my money, and I wanted that contribution to go somewhere. And I started it initially. It was like a GoFundMe for like words for other players, like not even myself. It was just I believe it's the U24 teams, and that's how it started. And I think we reached our goal. It was like $3,000 and 3 days. Yeah, it was $3,000 in 3 days that we raised, and so that kind of I worked with USAU, and they developed that into um, Delrico Johnson Fund, which I'm really honored that they named it after me. Um, but it's good to see the community come behind something uh, and just be able to like share the wealth. Um, because I think if we are able to get other communities involved in Ultimate, it's just going to make the sport better and more widespread and seen. So it was just important for me to give back to the community because I knew how it felt to not be able to enjoy the benefits of Ultimate because of money, and I didn't want anyone else going through that hardship. So that was why I helped start it.
Great. Any other quick questions before we head out? Thanks. I do have, you mentioned White Hat before. I do have a video of you guys throwing. If you want to watch that, we can.
Yeah, I think I know which one it is.
I think so too. Let's see if I can pull it up for you.
It's when I had little to no hair.
Yeah. Some college time.
Oh yeah.
I don't have the Brody one though, where Brody introduces you.
Trick shots, huh? Getting pretty popular.
Oh, sorry.
Trick shots, huh?
Did that help your throwing?
That's where I learned to throw a lefty scuba.
Good. What else we got? I have some other videos.
Major League Ultimate. This might be an Olympic sport one day. Delrico Johnson of the DC Currents. That's your favorite team in the league, right? It is. It is. Yeah. But while we're at it, we can wrestling back. Here, here.
It's the high. Was that the high point of your life?
Probably like making it that first time. Yeah.
Yeah, was that the first one? I forget. You've been on twice, right?
I think so. Yeah, that was the first one. I think I made it 3 times. The one that was in that first video you showed, or like jumped over Chris Mazer, that made it,
Oh yeah.
and then the color of ultimate catch.
Oh yeah. All right. Thanks for doing this. If people want to stick around and chat, we can. But people are welcome to go. Such. Thanks for coming, everyone. And we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.